Welcome to the Two Boots Word Vault podcast. This episode is a 2008 recording in a coffeehouse in Chelston, Torquay in the United Kingdom. For a couple of weeks, thanks to the storyteller Martin Shaw, I was fortunate enough to travel the United Kingdom's West Country with a number of poets and musicians. This recording was an impromptu poetry performance with Judith-Kate Friedman and Deardorff and their musical fills with waves of street traffic in the background.
I think I'm going to kind of follow up a little bit on the same thing. You want to keep your harp out, or you blow a little harp, and you want to play a little slow blues?
Let's do it in D.
Okay.
And drop.
This, I might as well start out saying that this poem was written its first draft was written in a little blues tavern in Stockholm, Wisconsin. This place is about the same size as this shop right here. Stockholm, Wisconsin is on the Mississippi River. And it has a population of 98. And one brave shop owner, like Michael, decided to spend the summer bringing in blues guys. You know, they're the guys that would pay for passing the hat, play for whatever they could get. They weren't the stars. But damn, they were good. I was in there just about every Saturday night. Well, I'm a poet, so I had to write poems about this, and I wrote a whole sequence of poems. I'm not going to go there tonight. But this poem is in two parts. The first part happens in the bar. The second part back in the country where I lived. I've got a CD over here on the table over there. We took this first part and turned it into a blues song. But tonight I want to do it as a poem. In other words, with the song, I eliminated a lot of the words. But I wanted to use all the words this time. And then the second half, we'll do the first half kind of bluesy, okay? And then the second half, just that kind of sweet little tinkling Aurora Borealis stuff, okay? All right. This is the country blues. A little slower. Black African-American friend of mine said the one thing about white people is they don't play the blues slow enough. You see, because you play it slow, you just gotta move it in there. The blues seep out the open screen doors of the Rivertown Star Cafe. And the best blues come from old men. Men like Skillet Walker. A bent-over piano man in a tux against bikers, among the bikers. His piano has a linoleum sound, but his sidekick is just solid on guitar. Skillet's voice is worn out, like a Persian rug. I hear moaning through the frayed ends. There's weeping on the bare threads. Now the old man pulls the blues from deep in the earth. His licks are twinkling like old sea fossils, asleep in a limestone bed. Traffic in this small town, so I stand in the middle of the street. Now the moon's a bone over the road. Tonight no dog will sleep. The best blues come from old men. Men like Skillet Walker. crooked saw. There's dust on his road to love. Just slowly move into that twinkle. When I drive home up the coulee road, come out among the bean fields, an aurora borealis flares over the stars. The black sky shimmies like a little kid. Old Skillet had pulled the blues from deep in the earth. Now the sky responds. His music greets the weaving light. Constellations happily wiggle. All's right with the world as I fall asleep. Then Jess wakes me up after his date. Dad, did you see the northern lights? Yeah, I said, and I smiled. He says, I'm going back to watch the sky and listen to jazz from the car. Through the window, I see a lightning bug twinkling and blinking in the orchard. And Lester Young sweetly blows his blue note through the pear trees. That's the joy of traveling with characters, you know. You don't know what's going to happen. We've never done this before. We wanted to see how it happens. You know, when you travel with characters, you know you're traveling with courage. Right? And when you're traveling with courage, there's always delight in there. So that's where we're at. Joy soup. All right. I sing with a bunch of characters in Minneapolis. We get together and let's sing this one. We sing a couple times a month. Most of us never sang before, and so we kind of sing in the back. But we sing for the holy ones, those invisible ones. And this is a poem about that. In fact, here it is. It's called Joy Soup. This is for the men who sing for poetry. There are nights when a veil drops and I see that we are swimming in a tureen of joy soup. Our mumbled songs, our hoarse shouts, our gurgling, rambling chants simmer over Glenn's flaming guitar. Our words float like fruit grease wiggling on the surface. Robert's poems are honeydews floating in the air. With a cherry in his voice, David sings to a goddess who smacks her lips at the aroma of our cooking souls. Light a match. My poems are just kindling for the stove. Let my words be incense thrown onto the charcoal. Let me be the sugar cube dropped into the tea.
Would you give it to us again?
In spiritual traditions all over the world, you know, you want to become fully immersed into the divine. That's what the last line's about. So we're going to get there. We're going to try and get to the divine through this music and this poetry. There are nights when a veil drops And I see that we are swimming in the vast tureen of joy soup. Our mumbled songs, our hoarse shouts, our gurgling, rambling chants simmer over Glenn's flaming guitar. Our words are the fruit grease. I'm going to stop right there because my grandma used to make soup. And she used to tell me that the soup is good when you get those little bubbles of grease floating at the top. She had a name for them, and I can't remember what it was. Some obscure German name, I don't know. But those little bubbles are important. They give it the specialty. So, our words are the fruit grease, wiggling on the surface. Robert's poems are honeydews floating in the air. With a cherry in his voice, David sings to a goddess who smacks her lips at the aroma of our cooking souls. Light a match. My poems are just kindling for the stove. Let my words be incense thrown onto the charcoal. Let me be the sugar cube dropped into the tea. All right. Oh, Judy, can you sing like a siren, that sweet siren voice of yours, just kind of high and distant? Yeah.
Start.
Just you know how to do that. This is about the meditator in love. You know what happens? You know, so many meditators that I know, you know, they want to get rid of everything, right? Let's go blank. You know, they just, you know, let's forget everything. Let's be totally blank. I can't stand that. You know? Okay. You know, if you meditate too much, you know, forget it. So let's fall in love, right? Without your face, I would look out onto the valley and throw myself in. Like salt into sugar water, or smoke into fog. And my life would end without rapture. And the coyotes would chew my bones to splinters and lick out my bloody marrow. Without you, even my afterlife would end miserably. What do I got down here now? Okay, guitar player. Okay, that's the guitar player. Every New Year's and Christmas, I find one of these calendars, you know, the big calendars with the beautiful pictures on it, you know. I get them in the bookstores all the time, and then I write little 3-4 line poems or something on each one, and I got a couple of friends of mine that give that calendar as a Christmas present. You know, one year it might be, you know, houses down in Provence. Another year it might be rocks from Australia. You know, you know. I have never done kittens or puppies. I really not do kittens or puppies. But there was one, and it had the paintings of Vermeer. And I did this. I took 2 little poems, and there were 2 paintings of Vermeer. One was the girl with the pearl earring, and the other was the guitar player. Well, let me see, where are they? Way back there. Okay, I'm not far enough in this little chapbook here. There it is. So this is a short poem, the guitar player with a pearl earring. I never kissed her cranberried lips. I only listened to the bees guarding her heart. She said to me, How long must I play for you? Shake off your shyness. I said, your smile is lightning across the sky of my heart. She said, your hesitation is a storm, ready to rain on my zinnia garden.
Read it again, Tom.
Yeah, again.
Okay. I never kissed her cranberry lips. I only listened to the bees guarding her heart. She said to me, how long must I play for you? Shake off your shyness. I said, your smile is lightning across the sky of my heart. She said, your hesitation is a storm, ready to rain on my zinnia garden. Let's see. Oh, I want to do a little something. Here we go. I've been working on translating 1,000-year-old love poems from Spanish, early Andalusian Moor. Actually, he wasn't. He was actually of European blood, and his great-grandfather converted to Islam about late 870 AD or something like that, and then the family continued to do this, and his name is Abu Muhammad Ali ibn Azam al-Andalusi. And all of the love poetry in our Western European tradition comes from this man. He wrote a book on all the varieties of love, and he was the first European to actually emphasize the divinity of love and the spiritual dimension of love. After the First Crusade, William of Poitiers, the first troubadour, learned of his poetry, and the troubadours picked up that sentiment that had never been part of the European tradition before. And it all came because of this book, The Dove's Neck Ring, published in 1022 AD. All of the ways of looking at love that we know in the West can be traced back to this man. He talks about all the different ways. And I've been working on these poems. They've been translated, but the last one was about 50, 60 years ago, and it was kind of that Victorian colonial type language, and so I've wanted to update that. So this is a poem, because Ibn Azam says there's so many different kinds of love, and you can find God through love for anyone. It's love for anyone in any form. You can find God. So, with that said, I want to dedicate this to Sarah, who's been our angel over here taking care of us. You know, she's, this crazy bunch of characters have descended onto her house up on the moor. And the other night there was 10 or 12 of us sleeping in different places, and dirty laundry already all over, and she's been extremely patient, and we stay up playing songs and reading poems till 4 a.m. She's got to get up and be at work at 7. We're putting this angel through hell. Let me say that. Okay. This is one of the earliest poems in his book. It's called Are You from the World of Angels? Are you from the world of angels, or are you human? I can't tell. Through weary eyes, I'm stunned. I see a human form, but as I look more deeply, your body seems from another world. Blessed be the God who puts balance and grace into creation. You are a beautiful natural light. I don't doubt that you are a spirit drawn to us by the earthly mingling of our like-minded souls. We don't have proof, so to speak, that you are flesh and blood, except you are visible. And if we don't see a real person, we have to say, you are true, sublime, loving reason. Ibn Hazan, from 1,000 years ago. Isn't that something? Wow.
Yeah, more. Again.
Again?
Yeah.
All right. Are you from the world of angels? Or are you human? I can't tell. Through weary eyes I'm stunned. I see a human form, but as I look more deeply, your body seems from another world. Blessed be the God who puts balance and grace into creation. You are a beautiful, natural light. I don't doubt that you are a spirit drawn to us by the earthly mingling of our like-minded souls. We don't have proof, so to speak, that you are flesh and blood, except you are visible. And if we don't see a real person, we have to say, you are true, sublime, loving reason. Annie.
Yes, sir.
Could you play that conga?
The Congo.
The conga. The conga. I'm going to finish up with a poem here. I come from a big family. And we celebrate Christmas with lots of goings on. I got lots of nieces and nephews and children, uncles and aunts, and it's a loving environment all the way. And I feel very blessed to have come into that family. They're just starting to understand poetry, though. It kind of scared them for a long time. I kind of hid it for a long time, too. Where are you? Okay, that's page 29. I think you've probably heard that. This is based on a... there we are. You've heard the song, He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. Yeah. We sing that at Christmas. And this is about that song, all right? When Dad sang My Wild Irish Rose, Mom smiled, then blushed. Sometimes I would be red with envy. But more often I was proud. His voice rose above our childhoods, and now we love to sing. At Christmas, we wrap our arms around one another and sing, Oh, Holy Night, the first Noel. And He's got the whole world in His hands. 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 He's got you and me, brother, in His hands. He's got you and me, sister, in His hands. He's got you and me, brother, in His hands. He's got the whole world in His hands. I begin that last song in a blues voice. Never sweet, nor mocking, nor sentimental. A voice I earned on the streets in Frogtown. When the tempo shifts, Claire's hips begin to sway. Daniel claps, and Dad shimmies like a minnow in a holy man's hand. Can you feel that coming down when it comes? You know how that goes when you are feeling so good, so full of joy, and that juice is coming right out of heaven and right from the earth, and you just go, happens once in a while. Dad shimmies like a minnow in a holy man's hand. Then grace comes. Nearly every year, from the low and the dark. And we rise like the faithful to repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy.